In today's video, a man with a heavy cold talks about whether eBay or Amazon is the best sales platform for your small business. Cue the intro. Hi folks, welcome to the video. For those of you new to the channel, my name's Andrew. I'm a part-time eBay and Amazon reseller and a mental health advocate. And in today's video, I thought I would talk about what is the best platform or marketplace to sell on as a small business. By small business, I mean you could be an individual sole trader, you could be a limited company employing less than 10 employees. But basically something where you meet the criteria of being a small business. For myself, I'm a one-man limited company, although I do occasionally have contractors that come and work for me and do stuff. But yeah, my business model as a whole is just based around me working, and I buy and sell products on both eBay and Amazon. I have tried other online marketplaces in the past like Depop, Etsy, etc., but they haven't worked out for me nearly as well as eBay and Amazon. So I'm going to focus particularly in eBay and Amazon on this video as a result, because they are the two biggest platforms that you can buy on in the UK currently, and indeed probably the world as well. Definitely in Amazon's case, and I think in eBay's case as well. I don't think there's anything that's bigger than those two. So you're probably watching this video thinking that you are already reselling, or you're looking to get into reselling, and you might be thinking about expanding your business or starting up a new business, and you want to know which platform is the best for you as a small business. And you've got three choices. You could do eBay and Amazon, start off those at the same time or run them both concurrently. You could do just eBay, you could do just Amazon. Obviously I do both eBay and Amazon, but I started off only doing eBay. And if you are new to reselling, or you've sort of only been selling for a few months, a year at most, I would definitely not recommend running two platforms concurrently. Even if you are sending completely different stuff and selling completely different stuff on both, it takes a long time to gain the knowledge and the understanding of how to work a platform, how to get the best sales on it, what products sell, what products don't sell, and learning that is a lot of effort and a lot of energy. So trying to sort of expand that by taking on two platforms at the same time isn't something that I would recommend doing unless you've got a lot of free time to be able to learn both. And even then, it's still a challenge. Particularly with eBay and Amazon, they are totally different beasts. I always think that it is better to learn and master one platform. Once you've done that, then by all means move on to another platform. But each platform brings with it its own learning curve, its own knowledge that you have to pick up, and its own idiosyncrasies and its own way of doing things. So I think if you want to make a success of things, really make sure you get fully behind one platform first off. Then once you've got that underway, great, try out another platform, see how it does. I have run eBay alongside Depop before, alongside Etsy, and what I found was that I just didn't have the time to learn Etsy or Depop properly, and Etsy was a total flop. Depop did okay, but that was during the pandemic and it soon dived afterwards. And so what I've learned from that is that basically I need to stick with what I know and then gradually expand and learn something. So when it came to doing Amazon, I spent months and months of preparation before going into it, learning everything I could to do about it, watching loads of YouTube videos, reading lots of guidance, taking courses even, all kinds of stuff, before I was ready to launch on it. And even when I launched on it, I still got a lot of things wrong. And if I had more time and just been focused exclusively on Amazon, I probably would have made less mistakes. So learn from my experience there that running more than one platform is hard. So therefore we've got eBay versus Amazon. Which is the best for a small business? So I'm going to start with each in turn. I'm going to start with eBay. It's the one I'm most familiar with. I've been selling on eBay for absolute years, both privately and as a business. Started selling as a business on eBay for about 6 years now. So I've built up a lot of experience and knowledge of the platform in that time. eBay is great in terms of startup costs. I've done a video, which I won't link to because I don't know how to link to videos, but I've done a video about how to start a business on eBay in 2024. You can find it in my video history on the channel, where I set out how you can start eBay with little to no capital and make a real success of it. So, you know, you could start with £100 or less, although ideally you'd start with £250 like I did and scale your business accordingly. The only money I've ever invested into eBay has been £250 initial startup costs, and now I have 2 units, over 1,000 square foot of units full of stock, 3,000 buy it now and auction listings on eBay, and I'm consistently selling stuff every day and making a decent part-time income from it. So it can definitely be done on low startup costs. With eBay, the approach I recommend is to start off with selling your own stuff first off, so you can get used to shipping, how it works, how to list items, how to photograph them, how to write titles, all of those basic things, which I won't go into because you find loads of videos on it, but will help your knowledge. And it's, you know, it's not that steep a learning curve. Within a few weeks you should be able to list stuff and sell on it. One thing with eBay is they do limit new accounts in a few ways. You can only list so many items a month. I think it's 10 items at the start, up to about £250 value. Might be a bit wrong on that. But as they build up trust in you, as you start selling more items, you can increase that. At the minute, I haven't increased my selling limits for years, but I've got about £150,000 value I can list and about 6,500 listings I can use each month. And if I wanted to increase that, I would just press a button and it would be increased. I don't press that button because I don't need to at the minute. But gradually over time, eBay will just automatically increase your limits. And if you find you're approaching them, you can always speak to them as well and ask if they will increase them for you. So yeah, the other thing as well for new accounts, they will ask you a couple of documents, mainly around your bank account, etc., just to verify your details to make sure you're paying you to the right place. And they will take a bit longer to release funds to you in case there are any issues with your orders. Once they've built up trust, which really only takes a few months, you'll be able to request daily payments from eBay. So if you sold something today, you'd be able to get the payment for it tomorrow from eBay, with the exception of a bank holiday. It'll come the day after a bank holiday, which is really great for cash flow, because cash flow is the single most important thing in your business. Without cash, you haven't got a business, and you need to be able to use that to buy stock, pay wages if you've got wages, buy packing materials, pay shop subscription fees on eBay, whatever it may be. So if you've got a platform that will literally pay you in 24 hours of making a sale, then that's actually really good. It's not as quick as somebody walking into the store and paying you cash for something. We've got the cash there and then, but even then you're still going to pay that cash into your bank account, which, you know, probably means you're still going to get it the next day anyway by the time you've done that. So it's really good. We'll come on to cash flow on Amazon in a bit, because it's a bit different on Amazon. So yeah, the other advantage of starting off with a private account, selling your own stuff, is you can then switch that to a business account, and the selling limits and feedback you've built will automatically transfer across. If you started a new business account from scratch, which I did, then you find that you've got like 10 items you can list and £250 value, all that stuff again, and you've got to start and build again. Although I was really lucky, within a week they'd increased mine, I think, because I took out shop subscription straight away, and then I was like, oh, I can't really list much, so I just pressed the button to request more, and I got more I got basically what, 250 listings, whatever was included in the shop. So, but I don't know if that will work as a way around it now. So I'm not recommending trying that, because you'll end up paying costs on your shop subscription up front, because eBay like to charge in advance for that, which is why I say you do need a bit of cash to start eBay, but not a huge amount. So yeah, eBay costs are for running a storefront. If you get, it's about 30 quid a month for a basic store. It goes up to about 100 quid a month for running a featured store, which is what I have. As you build your business, you probably want to move towards a featured store. You may want to move to an anchor store at some point. That's about 500 quid a month. I'm not at that level yet, but I'm approaching it. So it's a consideration for the future, because you do pay insertion fees on stuff once you hit a certain level. So there's quite a few fees involved in eBay, and it's definitely worth understanding them. As well, to get to the top of the best match and to improve the likelihood of your product selling, you do need to use promoted listings quite heavily, which can increase your costs. So you really got to make sure that you're picking up profitable items. If you're picking up stuff that costs you £2 and you're selling it for 20 quid and it costs £3 or £4 to ship it, you're going to make money. Even with eBay fees, you're still going to make decent money. So that's the kind of thing you should be looking at. You should be, after costs, if you can at least double your investment post costs, then you're in profit. You're going to do all right. So yeah, eBay, good for cash flow. There is live chat you can speak to about issues. You can sell pretty much anything on eBay. There are a few products that you can't sell without the appropriate documentation, e.g. CBD products, vaping, nicotine-based products, I believe. Probably alcohol as well. I've never tried selling that. But by and large, you can sell most things. There is a Vero program where there are some brands who won't let you sell on eBay, and will kick off your listing if they spot it, because they'll complain to eBay. But in the last 6 years, I've had about 3 Vero claims. So if I get one, I won't sell that item. I'll just sell on a different marketplace, whatever. It's it's not a big thing. So it's really possible to list a diverse array of products to a huge audience. There are millions of people using eBay, so the market share is really good. There's lots of competition, because it is quite easy to list on. Not compared to Vinted, but generally it's quite easy to get on, put a listing up, put a few photos on, what you're doing, and get multiple items listed a day. So there are lots of people who do that as their full-time income. So you do try to look at stuff that's selling fast on eBay, or stuff that's rare and unique, just to improve your chances of selling it. But the fact that there's a lot of competition there also indicates that it's also a really good way to make money. So if I was running a small business, in terms of cash flow, ease and starting capital, I would probably rate eBay really highly. There's a few things they could do to improve, but generally I think they're a really good platform to sell on, and to start a business, and to learn how to run a reselling business. Do eBay for a year or two, understand it, get your business properly established, learn how to source, learn how to ship, do all those kind of things, and then you could think about other platforms and learning those. The other big platform in the UK is of course Amazon, which is the biggest, I think, personally, certainly in my experience. There are multiple different ways to do Amazon. You can send stuff into Amazon and have them handle the shipping and customer service around it, which is called fulfillment by Amazon. That's what I do. You can do merchant fulfilled, which is where Amazon will allow you to list an item on Amazon, but it's up to you to ship it to the customer. And you could do seller fulfilled prime as well, where you don't send the products to Amazon, but you ship them yourself, much like in merchant, but you get a prime badge because you agree to ship that product to Amazon's timescales within 24 hours basically. I have not tried merchant fulfilled or seller fulfilled prime, so I'm not an expert in those areas. I have only tried fulfillment by Amazon, or FBA as it's known, where I send stuff to Amazon, they give it a nice little prime badge, and it sells. So my experiences are going to be based on that. But as a small business, the first thing I would say is it takes a lot of time and effort to get through the onboarding process for Amazon. Weeks to get through it. You have to supply them lots of documentation. You're probably going to have to do a video interview with them. Yeah, it's not an easy process, and they're not quick to approve stuff. I had an Amazon account that was set up years ago as an individual account, because you've got two types of accounts on Amazon. You have an individual or a pro account. The individual one doesn't cost anything, but they charge you more on fees for items that sell. The pro account's like £100 a month or something. Might be less, I can't remember. So I had an individual account all set up with Amazon, everything fine. And then at the end of last year, I decided I was going to start sending stuff into Amazon FBA, and I quickly realised I needed a pro account. So I switched to a pro account, and then I realised I'm now a limited company, so I had to switch to a limited company. That took some time. It took them weeks to verify my bank account details, because I had to change my bank account, because I didn't want to use the one that was on there, which is my eBay account. I wanted to keep the Amazon one separate. So that took weeks to sort out, and I also, because I'm not yet VAT registered, although I am pushing towards that stage, I also had to request that Amazon knock off VAT on my fees as well. That bit was really simple, only took a day. Everything else took weeks, and that's with an already established account. If I'd been going through some of the other verification on top, it could have been 6 to 8 weeks before I got through. But yeah, it took about 4 weeks just for me doing some simple changes. So it is not easy to get set up on. So easy use is not great. The seller support is useless. Honestly, people badmouth eBay customer service, but they do have some vague idea of what's going on. The seller support at Amazon, clueless. If you can avoid dealing with them, then avoid them. It's just, you are just wasting your time speaking to them. Really, they won't give you what you want. They don't know how to, and even if they did, they won't give you what you want. So yeah, total waste of time. Like just asking anything or getting to deal with anything for you, it's just useless. Cash flow is a real issue on Amazon. I sold my first product 6 weeks after switching to the pro account and getting everything sorted. Probably should have waited to switch to the pro account a bit, actually, because actually no, I don't think they charge you fees until you start shipping stuff in anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, and it was another 6 weeks after selling my first product before I got my first payment. So that's pretty much 3 months from starting Amazon before I got paid, which is insane. It's a bit longer than perhaps normal. Not entirely sure why, but yeah. Bear in mind on eBay, as soon as, even if you've got payment holds on eBay, as soon as an item is shown as delivered to a customer, you can call them up and ask the payment hold to be released. So you're going to get money within a few days, assuming your ship's off on time. But yeah, Amazon's weeks and weeks. And then then even when like they're starting to release money to you, they hold the majority of it to cover any refund costs, and they hold that for weeks because they want to spend time getting to trust you as a seller, which is another reason why it took so long for me to get paid. Most of my funds was in what's known as an account level reserve, which meant they weren't available to me to withdraw. Eventually, over time, you do get the ability to request daily disbursements, so I can request daily payouts for Amazon now, but it's for stuff that sold 2 weeks ago. So if you had a bad day 2 weeks ago, it's going to be 2 weeks before you feel the financial impact of that. Conversely, if you had a good day 2 weeks ago, it's going to be 2 weeks before you see the financial benefit of that and can reinvest that money in your business. So the cash flow is appalling. You basically have to make sure that you keep a reserve of cash ready to cover any eventualities. So you just, unlike on eBay where, well, I'm going to get paid tomorrow, so I may as well just spend all my today's eBay payment. You can't take that approach with Amazon. You really do need to keep some cash back, especially because with Amazon FBA in particular, you're going to have subscription costs for tools that you need to use to help support and run your business. Even SellerAmp SaaS, which is what I use to scan products, you're going to want that. So yeah, there are more costs involved in running an Amazon business. You probably want to go on a Discord group as well, because to be honest, it is, if you find a good one, the best way to learn about Amazon and to get profitable products to buy as well. And you're probably going to want to have a repricer as well. I use Profit Protector Pro, so like at least 40 quid a month, possibly more. You know, so your investment costs are going to be a lot more. You're not going to have to spend as much on packaging materials and shipping materials as you will on eBay, because you're going to ship everything in one big box to Amazon, unless you're doing merchant fulfilled, of course. And I should say, with merchant fulfilled, I believe you do get your cash a bit quicker, so it is an option to consider. If you're just starting out on Amazon, you might want to do it, but there's also some really hard and heavy metrics on there as well, where you've got to dispatch stuff on time, etc. And if you don't, well, Amazon aren't kind to you. Whereas on FBA, Amazon are dispatching the items, so if they dispatch it late, they're not going to punish you as the seller. There's also what's known as gating on Amazon. So remember on eBay, I was talking about you can pretty much list anything. There's a few categories that you can't list in, and you know, you might get the risk of getting a VRO. Well, there's loads of brands and categories on Amazon that you can't sell on. There's loads of brands that you'll never be able to sell on Amazon as well. Apple, for example, only Apple will be able to sell on Amazon. And Gillette, I believe, is the same as well. But on eBay, you can sell Apple and Gillette products without any issue. On Apple, on Amazon, you can. Doesn't matter how big you are. They control the market on there. So yeah, when you start out as a seller, most products you won't be able to sell on Amazon. They'll be gated. You can ungate in 3 ways. You can press a button and it will automatically ungate you. That tends to happen more and more the longer your account is established. So because I had already had an established account with Amazon, I was ungated in quite a lot of things that I wouldn't normally have been as a new seller, because I had that individual account for years. You can also ungate by watching a video and answering out a simple questionnaire, which is pretty obvious to answer and watch. Or if neither of those methods are available to you, which they won't be in all cases, sometimes you have to supply an invoice from a reputable distributor / supplier with 10 or more products, which you can do. And you can do that using online arbitrage as well. If you find a supplier that gives you a proper VAT invoice that names the actual item on it and everything and gives you the details, then you can actually do that. So Lego, for example, you can usually ungate using the Lego store and the invoice you get from them, which is good actually, because they do have some profitable products. But anyway, you've got to go through a bit of a complicated process, and you know, if you have to ungate stuff with invoice, you've got to buy 10 of that product, and you might not be able to find 10 profitable products from a distributor as well, so you may end up losing some money on that initial ungate. Although you should recover it when you start sending in stuff for that particular brand, etc., that is profitable, but you've got to invest more capital. With the limits on how often they pay you, you know, even if you've got to a stage where you're able to request your first payout for Amazon, they will still, as I say, hold the majority of your funds in reserve until they trust you. So it will be weeks and weeks before you get to a stage where the majority of your funds are in reserve and you can request them, and even then it's still the funds from 2 weeks ago. So yeah, you need to have more money available, because Amazon likes you to keep sending stock in. So if you've got a profitable lead and you're running out of that, you'd have to delete the listing or find more and send it in to keep Amazon selling it for you. It's a lot more complicated. You'll also find that brands will not like you selling their products. They don't know who you are, they don't know what the legitimacy of that product is, therefore, so they will send what's known as an IP, intellectual property claim, to Amazon, which you'll then have to contest to be able to sell that particular item. If you haven't got any documentation to support it, support your purchase of that Amazon accept, then you're going to get a strike on your account. Get too many of those and your account will be deactivated. On eBay, very rare that you would get asked to provide authenticity of an item. Although it can happen, but certainly not anything like with the frequency that happens on Amazon. The brands are really tight on Amazon, so that's a lot harder. So would I start out on Amazon as a small business? Well, the opportunity to make money and scale a business is greater on Amazon, which is why I do it. I could send a box of stuff into Amazon and it'll be sold within a day. The same items on eBay, the exact same items, might take 3 or 4 months to sell. There's just a much bigger customer base on Amazon, so stuff sells a lot quicker as a result. Amazon charges more in fees than eBay, but it's not really a problem as long as you find profitable products. However, on Amazon, there's only one listing for an item generally. There might be 2 or 3 occasionally, but generally there's only one listing for an item. So every seller is on the same listing. And what happens is a lot of sellers like to, especially new ones, like to cut prices to get rid of stock quickly. Scared money, I call it. They don't understand how to do Amazon, and they panic because they're not making as much money as they expected. So they slash the prices to try and get their money back out, or because they haven't realised that it takes so long to get paid for Amazon and their cash flow is gone. Whereas on eBay, it's quite possible to have the same product on 10 different listings, and the cheapest seller doesn't necessarily sell that product, but the dude who's at the top of the best match does, and he's £2 or she's £2 higher, or they are £2 higher than the cheapest seller, but they've got an established listing with a sales history, and so eBay are pushing that, or they paid a bit more to promote the listing, and so eBay are pushing it. So you do have competition on Amazon in a different way to eBay, and the competition mainly comes in the form of tanking prices. If you've bought products without enough margin in to be able to sell them at a lower price, then you're probably going to have to hold that product until the cheaper sellers sell out, and that may not happen depending upon how many times that item sells. So yeah, that is another barrier. So Amazon, far more stringent to get onto the platform. There's a lot to learn about how to do it, although once you've learned it, it's relatively straightforward. But for new sellers, for small businesses just looking to start out on a platform, and even for established sellers who are still building a business on eBay, say, I would say wait to start Amazon. Don't leap into it straight away. Try eBay first, learn how to do all that, then by all means go into Amazon, using the knowledge, the skills and the patience and resilience that you've built up by doing eBay to learn how to sell on Amazon, and the cash, most importantly, the cash flow that you've built and continue to get from eBay. Because if you run out of cash when you're doing Amazon, it is not a good place to be. I've been there myself, so I can tell you that. On eBay, they are a lot more forgiving and a lot better. As I say, I might not have enough money for today's postage, but I've got 2-day dispatch on. Today's payments, today's sales coming in tomorrow, and they pay for the postage tomorrow. The cash flow is there. It just isn't there with Amazon. So if you've got particularly subscription costs you need to meet and you miss those, a bit of a problem, haven't you? If you don't pay SellerAmp, so they cancel your account, how are you going to source product? You're not, especially if they, ban you for non-payment. So yeah, my advice, which is better for small businesses? eBay is better in terms of cash flow. Amazon is better in terms of scalability, but you need to have the cash flow in order to be able to do Amazon. So I would start off with eBay first, and then gradually build and switch and move over to Amazon, and spend the first year on Amazon just learning about it. Don't put every penny you've got into it, not like I did. Just learn, slowly drip feed stuff into it, build up the Amazon business, and then in your second year, once you understand it, really go for it then. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. I'd like to have random comments on the videos to show that somebody's made it this far and that time has been well spent on sharing this knowledge. So if you comment the word pamper down below, then I'll know people have actually watched the content and are enjoying it. So thank you very much for watching, folks. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out, and don't forget to comment Pamper. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Bye for now.